Alright, what's going on, guys? Welcome back to Sword Art Podcast, episode 2 of season 2. I'm your host, Shark, and today I've got two special guests.
Hey Shark, it's Baldur. How are you doing today?
Pretty good, how are you, Baldur?
Doing well.
And
Hey, what's good in the hood? It's Hikoru here, guys. How you doing?
Alright. Well, we've got some interesting topics today, guys. Won't you say?
Yeah, I'm curious for this first one.
Same.
Well, unfortunately, we do not have Taco with us, as he has some personal tasks.
Yeah,
he
so
has to
instead
take
you
care
get
of.
discount taco.
And then Mac has a sermon, but I'm sure he's listening in on us, so we'll see how well that he can get his sermon done.
Yeah.
So until
Let's hope
then,
for the best.
we've got next best.
Aww. I'm actually good at something.
So earlier before the stream, Hick and I were talking about coffee. So, Hick,
Oh my God.
what's your preferences on coffee there?
Me? Personally, I've been doing a lot of Keurig coffee because that's what I got at my house, and I've been staying up late doing homework to try to pass classes, and I found an interesting combination. It's a cinnamon roll Keurig cup for coffee, already sweet itself, and then I found Irish creamer at the store. Tried that. Oh, mwah. It's a work of art.
Nice. Yeah, I was drinking. I threw myself a pot together, and I used the Folgers coffee with some French vanilla creamer, and then a couple of sugar in the raw packets. So I'm all
Nice.
set to go.
That sounds good. All right, Baldur, do you drink any coffee?
I'm actually immune to the effects of caffeine, be it in coffee or medicine. So I'm more of a tea drinker.
Nice.
Oh.
What kind of tea?
Specifically, I like green tea, and then I've got like a Moroccan mint tea that are sort of my go-tos.
Oh, nice.
Yeah. My wife was raised in England, so we have like 15 different kinds of tea in our cabinet.
Nice.
So our Renaissance Festival actually has a tea room, and they've got about 45 different teas, several of which the chef actually makes himself. So we like to go and experiment as well.
That sounds fun. Holy crap.
Yeah, I mean, I like to drink tea
Mm.
when I'm sick, so I'll go with the Jade Citrus Mint from Tavana.
Yeah, I've been sick lately, and the green tea is amazing for helping a sore throat.
Yeah, that is true. Add a little bit of honey in, and beautiful.
I'm personally not a tea drinker myself. I've tried it many times, different flavors. I've just never found one that I like. But I know it's amazing and I should use it, but it's not my personal preference. I prefer coffee.
You know, I went through about 10 different kinds of green tea before I found one that I actually like to drink regularly. And it's the Costco brand. The Kirkland green tea comes in a box of like 200.
Oh, wow.
That's not... Let me write that down. I want to try it. What's it called again?
It's Kirkland, which is the Costco brand. And it's really good. It's got the matcha powder that you pour in there at the end once you've steeped it. So.
Oh, sounds good. All right, I'll have to give that a shot.
Well,
like fun.
All right. So, yeah, it actually sounds really good, actually. So, on to today's stream. Guys, what's the current floor status?
Well, I got this one. My guild mates and I, the four of us found 4 map fragments. Now we finally have all of them, and we're going through the meeting right now. There have been quite
about time. Sorry, I've been sick. Took long enough.
All right, fair enough. Going through the meeting. By the way, that was a good point in character, Bal. I like that. We have quite a few speculations on it. I can pull them up. I think I have them somewhere. Because they had me ride that whole monologue thing. Because like, oh, Hick, you can do this because, you know, you're the leader. I don't want to do it, but I had to write that, and that sat with little muse of left in me I had left.
I'm just going to say, you know, not to give anybody spoilers or hints or anything like that, but, you know, it might behoove you to go watch the old Godzilla versus Mothra movie, you know?
Yes. Yes, yes. You see
Nice.
where I finally got my ideas from because I had watched that recently, and I'm like, oh, ooh, that'd be good. All right, let me. They should be here. I gotta find the link. I gotta scroll up a lot. Scroll up a lot. Still
Keep
scrolling.
scrolling.
There it is. All right. Let it load up because my internet. It's the
I think you guys had suggested that the all the silk that was all over the place could be slowing people down, so some evasion increasing items would be helpful. As well, you guys had suggested that burn damage might do bonus damage against the boss or bonus damage against you guys. So burning enhancing items, such as what you can get from Guardian of Fire, which you fight Cerberus and the Hellhounds. And what was
and
the
then
other quest?
deforestation.
Deforestation.
Sounds like some interesting tactics.
Yeah, they are interesting, and I love how they I love how they thought of going back to Thanos. I'm going to talk about this. They talked about it in chat. We had our own private chat that we were talking in, and they went back to Thanos and looked at his stats and compared them to what they were, and they made them stronger. So, real talk, if you guys listen to this, kudos to you. That was a smart idea. That was very interesting to like watch and listen to.
Yeah, it's a lot of fun for me on the staff side to watch players theorize about boss fights and go through the boss planning meetings. It's kind of the realization of the boss fight that we've tended to have worked on for a while.
Oh yeah, it's amazing to watch, honestly, because technically I was both a player and staff at the same time going through this, so it was definitely interesting to be like, okay, you guys think of this, and I'll write it. And then at the staff side, I know what the boss has, so comparing them for me was very interesting because they brought a lot of good points. And I just noticed in staff that Morg let us know deforestation has no burn rewards.
That was in the regular chat, not staff.
I'm tired.
Close enough.
Drink some coffee.
Close
kid.
enough. Hashtag close enough. But okay, so there's going to be a lot of work on Guardian of Fire to prepare for this. So can't wait to see how that works out.
Yeah, I mean, it definitely sounds like it'll be a tough battle, so definitely come prepared.
Yeah. All right.
So we're going up to what? We're working to find the 20th floor boss to get to 21?
Yes. Oh, floor 21.
In development, weren't we calling it the Hickey Cave?
Oh. This is Hickey's floor, so you need to know I've put in so much work on this floor.
Gotta thank our floor development team.
He's been dying for a floor like this so he could buy his player or his character a house. So that's why we've been calling it the Hickey floor.
Oh, legit.
So
if people are wondering why I kept saying like listening to like, oh, I'm gonna buy a floor. What floor are you gonna find out? You'll find out. This is the floor I'm building it on. And it's gonna cost me so much. But honestly, I'm stoked to buy it. I'm stoked to have it. It's going to be good for in character. It's going to be good for everything.
Yeah, I have a feeling I'm going to be waiting for a while before I find the floor that I want to have Baldur set up shop on.
99.
I got 99
floors. Look, I am already the oldest player on site, so I don't know that I can make it to floor 99.
That's true. Looking at the staff, and we're on floor 20, and it's been how many years now?
That's a good question.
We've had active work.
Yeah.
Because I think the board start date was 2011. I know I started in 2013. Or maybe it was 2012 I started. Who knows?
Takao actually went back through and found all of the old boss fights because he was working on his timeline for the time skip idea. And
I started in 2013.
It was pretty funny to go back and look at Shark. You actually ran the first floor boss fight.
Yep.
Oh my god.
Yeah.
It was some bandit battle or whatever.
That was interesting.
Yeah. The site was so different back then.
Yeah, oh yeah. If you compare it from now to the past and the first couple floors, It's
It used to be
definitely
there was
changed
like
quite a bit.
pages of RP before they actually fought something.
Yeah.
Yeah,
It's
that was
it's
interesting.
fun looking back though, because
Oh yeah.
as Takao and Oikawa and I were working on the leveling system for 3.0, we went back and kind of looked at all the different systems and things that we had done. And one of the things we pulled up was when I was a player before I was ever a PST years ago, I made this graph, this chart of how many posts were required for each level. And there was this weird little hiccup at like level 7 and 8 where it quadrupled the number of posts that you needed and then dropped back down again.
I remember that.
Oh, yeah.
Holy crap! I remember
It
that.
was like level 6 you needed 50 posts, and then level 7 you needed 190 posts. So it's just
Holy crap! I remember that. And I loved how it I was like level 40 and I barely had any ranks in my freaking dagger or anything. It was just I was level 40 with nothing. Oh my god, those were the days. Those were the days.
Who is
Oh,
Oh, never mind. I'm just reading chat. Yeah, we in the Discord chat, Ira said I think back then they were working on an actual game program for SAO. Yeah, we were. That
right.
was a 2D game, but we just didn't have enough interest, so we
because
couldn't
we're doing the whole
really.
RPG creator thing.
Yeah, we were using
I was
RPG
just
Maker.
looking real talk. I was just looking at that last week. I was like, I remember when this was a thing. Why did we stop?
It's just because we didn't have enough time nor help, so I mean it. We were trying to look
Yeah.
for different
Your
options.
thesis, Shark? Your
What?
senior project?
Yeah. That was
Hmm.
entirely different. I'd start thesis next semester. Actually, no, not 2 semesters. So next spring semester is when I am probably gonna start thesis.
Nice.
Nice.
So
Congratulations.
yeah, I have
Getting
no
near the
idea
end.
what I'm gonna do because over Thanksgiving, I dropped my computer science major down to a minor, and then picked up a management major. So we'll see how that goes.
So you doing more technology management or just business management?
Business management. I'm currently working on trying
Nice.
to start up a tech company, like with web hosting and other kind of random server hosting. So
Nice.
more so
Nice.
like the website administration, networking stuff. So
So
that'll be
similar
fun.
to what you do for Aeron right now.
With that, I just manage the site. I don't host it, but if
You
I can
put
get
that on
some,
your resume.
yeah, actually, I think I did when I sent it out. Just I mean, because I work with staff management right now with the site. So
Hmm.
Yep,
go through
you
and review
certainly do.
applications, and then we all work together as a team to figure out who we want aboard.
Hmm.
Which
I, I love
there's
I
a
love
lot
getting
of good applications that come through. I'm not gonna lie.
Hmm.
Yeah, there are. I love explaining to people that aren't on site. They're like, "What are you doing?" Like they'll see me on site at school, and I'll be working on something for staff, and I'll be like, just doing work.
Yeah, that's. I just say that I manage. When people ask me what I'm doing, I'm like, I'm just working on one of the sites I manage. So that's pretty much. That's pretty much what I do. But I'm currently working, building up my personal company's webpage, and then a webpage I'm hosting for one of my club swim teams that I grew up with. Because
Nice.
the YMCA we go through is, not the greatest in getting stuff done. So we're like, you know what, screw this, and then they just went through me. I was like, all right. So having a lot of fun.
Yeah, sounds fun.
Yeah, sounds it.
All right, so back we got a little sidetracked there, but I think that was a good conversation.
Yeah.
Back to the front line. What kind of in terms of going on to the next floor? What is there any kind of special quest that's going on, or even on this floor that we have coming on right
Well,
now?
the searching of the floor has been done. So we had 2 players each go out and get 1 map fragment each for the labyrinth, and then we had 1 party go through and gather the remaining fragments needed to find the boss room, which is the 3rd step to getting to the boss fight. So now all that's left is to finish the meeting and have everybody pick teams so that we can start the boss fight. Once the boss
Yeah.
fight's done, the next floor will be unlocked. And floor 21 also means tier 3 materials and equipment.
Ooh, snazzy.
Ooh.
Yeah, and on the balance side, that terrifies me a little bit because damage potions will start giving 9 bonus damage.
Oh, baby. Sneak attack's gonna be so nice.
Yeah, and then alcoholic will be 9 bonus damage,
Oh, what's
negative
that?
3 evasion. So yeah, between those 2 potions, you're basically buffing yourself by an entire tier 2 player. So
And then Hikoru has plus 15% damage with sneak attack, which gives plus 1 damage, and then I'm getting charged up to rank 3, so that's plus 3 damage. I'm gonna be killing people.
He's
excited.
You heard it here first, everyone. Hide your characters, hide your wives.
Hickey's gonna find you.
Hickey's coming for you.
So anything outstanding that's gonna be on the current floor or something we can expect?
The current floor, I don't think anything else is planned other than the boss. But for floor 21, I'm wanting to try something. We talked about it in the past couple months, and we're going to be doing lore quests. So instead of fighting we're still trying to plan on how we're going to make it work, but we want to make the lore boss quests have to be done from a certain amount of people before we unlock the boss. Kind of like what they did on floor 13 with the event.
Okay, yeah.
Yeah, I want to do something like that. But we're going to have to make it work with the labyrinth and stuff, because I still want to use that, because it's a great system, and I love it.
Yeah, it is a nice system.
It's a great system, I love it. But we just got to find a way for it to work. So
I'll take a moment here just to let everybody know, when you are working on unlocking a floor, if you're part of the team that discovers the field boss, you get 1 bonus SP for doing that. If you're part of the team that defeats the field boss, you get 1 bonus SP for doing that. And if you're part of the team that discovers the boss room, which would be, whatever group finds the last piece of fragments, you get a bonus SP.
yeah, so
We're probably going to adjust that going forward so that we'll give 1 SP for each map fragment that a player finds for the labyrinth. So
right.
if in this case, we had a group of 3 or 4 players, so they would each get 1 SP because 1 SP is awarded for each fragment. However, if someone went out and did a solo quest and got a fragment and then was part of that group, they would have found 2 fragments and get 2 SP. Yep.
Nice. Thank you for breaking that down, because I know there's a lot of people that keep asking. So that was good.
Well, we didn't realize that people hadn't caught that, and I had to go back and re-look through the rules and find out the rewards. So if you were part of the field boss defeating party, I made a comment at the end of that thread, so you got some bonus SP and some bonus coal. And we'll try and do a better job at keeping an eye on that going forward so that everybody gets their rewards.
Yeah, I got 3 SP out of that, which leveled me up, so...
Nice. Yeah, just so you guys know, our systems and clarifications team are working on redoing the guides and making sure everything's cut and clear, so everything is right there and listed.
I know Tion was working just recently. I just saw something from her the other day. She's working her little butt off, which God bless her soul.
Yeah, we're very thankful for her work so far.
That's a lot of crap she's going through, honestly.
Yeah, oh yeah. It's a giant task. It's not easy.
It really is. She's got a Google document with a lot of the revised stuff, and it doesn't have everything on it. And I think she was already at like 65 pages or something like that.
Oh yeah, it was pretty long.
When you put everything into one guide, it is a huge document. So it is not a small project.
No, not by any means.
No. So, what kind of special events we have coming up? Or going on, rather? Are there something for April Fools?
Yeah. If people remember, I posted a little while ago, should have done it better, but there was a April Fool's event called, what was it? Child of Rock. The story behind that, in a sense, essentially a lot of people were joking about it. Like, oh, what if we had Rock as a quest boss, blah, 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 blah. And finally April Fool's hit around and someone said it, and I'm like, you know what?
Here we go.
Here we go. You wanted to mess around. I'm not messing around. Made the quest. Me and Lily worked on it together a little bit and posted it up. People said it was good. Put it up. And that's my mistake for not giving it enough time for people to sign up. That's why we had it updated. It was kind of unfair in my part. I didn't mean for it to be like that, but it kind of was. So that's my apologies on my part. But if you want to do it, now's your chance to do it, man. And you got up till Monday.
Yeah, Monday midnight PST to sign up, and then Monday PST midnight the following week to complete the quest by. So we wanted to make sure that everybody had a chance, and so we plastered it over the site as best we can. So
yeah. And if you notice, if you were watching before the podcast actually started during the stream, there was an announcement made on the site about this.
Yeah.
I do know Beatbox is working on a Easter-themed quest event. So it'll be a limited time quest. It'll be a limited time quest like this, and he's working on it because part of the problem, unfortunately, with the Child of Rock is it's a very difficult quest. So Beatbox, I believe, is trying to make 2 different versions of it, a low-level version and a more challenging version for the higher-level players. So that should be fun. I've seen his concept art for it, and I think it's going to be a very amusing and fun quest to do.
Nice.
Yeah, I think Morg was helping him out with that too, if I remember correctly. But I'm not entirely sure. That's what I think I heard about, is them working together. But I'm honestly excited at the same time to see it as well. I've seen a couple things about it, heard a couple things. Pretty stoked.
Nice.
Yeah.
And then, so what do we have going on for, anything you want to give for development? Any kind of leaks?
Floor development, we've already talked about Floor 21. Floor 21's created, just about done. The boss is all ready. I'm honestly, myself, I'm terrified of the boss I've made for this. It's definitely going to be a challenge. People, I hope you guys are going to enjoy it, because I really liked it. I still got to crunch some numbers and make sure it's all set with the rest of the floor development team. But I won't release anything. I won't even give you the name because it's not even time yet. But he is a scary guy.
He's the first tier 3 boss.
Oh, he's scary. Legit. I am legit scared for Calrex, honestly.
Blame it all on Cal.
Yeah. And the lore quests, as I said, we're working on those, trying to get those out. We got to get them done before the boss is completed, of course, so we're kind of crunching for time as best as we can. And event bosses, the most recent one was just found by Husky today. He sent me the message. I let everyone know. But we just got to wait and see when that's released, because that's not my boss and stuff. That's others, so we're just waiting for them to give him the info, and we'll be starting the planning thread for that soon.
Nice.
That's going to be a really fun event boss fight as well. It's very unique as far as what we've done so far. So I'm excited about that. And then also, Hickey is mentioning the lore quests, which is something that has been the next step of what we were trying to do. So I know people have had some issues with the time it takes to unlock the next floor, but it's all part of a grander plan. Lore quests are the next step, and so what we're trying to do is really make it so that players get a chance to experience a floor. Because before, what we would do is we would literally have the boss unlocked for the next floor the day after. So people wouldn't even have a chance to do a thread on the new floor before we were already fighting the boss. So by doing this whole finding the field boss, fighting the field boss, searching the labyrinth, we're trying to give players a chance to experience the character of each floor, spend some time on the floor before we find the boss. It's a little bit more like SAO, where this was actually a big part of what the frontline was doing. And lore quests and what Mac and Hikoru were doing with the floor creation team is a really big part of that. So we're hoping to start having quests that give each floor a character, personality, and a feeling so that you can go, you know what? There was a really cool event on this floor. There was some really cool story elements to this floor that I liked. We've got some floor teams starting working on like campaign quests and floors. So we've got a lot of fun stuff coming down the line that we're hopefully going to start seeing come to fruition, and you'll start seeing a lot of these pieces that maybe don't make as much sense now come together in the big picture.
Yeah. And with the lore quests, we're not going to make like 5 or 6 quests that you have to do. It's probably going to be just 1 or 2, but it's going to be very story-based. And they're not going to be super, super difficult. Like, level 50 plus have to beat them like She or Child of Rock was. We're not going to make it super difficult. We're going to make it so every player can do it and every player can have fun with it. Definitely, it's going to be good for character development. It's going to be good for maybe relations with other players. It's going to be good with giving the character, like Baldur said, a lot of character to it in itself. Mm-hmm. That's what we're going for. That's what we're shooting for. And we hope that you guys really enjoy what we're trying to do now.
Let's go back to about the lore quests. There was a question in chat. In terms of lore quests, are those going to be ways to learn about a boss's biome and mythos?
Ideally, that's going to be part of it. We try to theme each boss off of the floor, but that's one of those more difficult things that you have to have more and more space to plan and execute. So as we get a little bit further out, that'll become a little bit more ideal. We see a lot in the light novel and in the anime, well, more so maybe in the manga and the light novel, of these quests that the players go through on a floor start to give hints towards what the boss is capable of. That is the goal down the road, to start working towards that. But
and I think Floor 21 is a very strong step into that direction. I know a couple of the GMs and the PSDs have looked through the floor and said, this is really good. I've been trying to do just what Val said, is trying to work towards like giving hints of the bosses. I'm going to be getting a rough draft of the lore quest done myself because, as I said, this is my floor a little bit earlier, and I have a very, very strong idea of what I want for quests. They're up there in what little brain I have left, and I want to get them out on paper. But that's what we're going for. So yes, they're gonna be given little snippets and hints of who the boss is, what they're capable of, what might their weakness be. We might start putting weaknesses like in the original manga and all that stuff in the light novels. We're gonna try to, but again, that's very difficult to kind of balance, because if we give that away, people can very, very much abuse that, and the boss wouldn't last as long as maybe we want it to. Wouldn't give us enough time to get stuff ready for the next floor boss. That's why we try to make these last long. But rest assured, we're doing our best to get this as well as we can. But for now, just got to stick with what we got.
Mm-hmm. And then there was also a question asked by Regular Undead closer to the start of the stream. What upcoming floors share common themes with the canon series? Ideally, that's the plan, but as we know, wasn't a whole lot of canon information on every single floor. So the floors that we have information on, we're going to try and stay as close to that as possible. Other than that, we're trying to be a little bit creative.
Yeah, we have certainly outpaced Reiki when it comes to revealing floors versus his writing speed. I guess that's a point of pride. We can say we're clearing floors faster than the author. That said, we do have sort of a guide of all the next floors, and we go through and very carefully look at what canon information we have for those floors and incorporate it into them. I think it was floor 19 or something like that was the floor that the Black Cats episode was on. So we went and got some images, and I think I watched that episode 4 or 5 times.
Yeah, I don't think it was floor 19. Floor 19 was the one where the murder mystery happened in the.
Might have been.
I think you're thinking of, maybe floor 22, 23. It's upcoming. Hasn't happened yet. I don't think.
Yeah, it has. It was the that more Inca floor, Sunshine Forest and whatnot.
Yeah.
So I've had threads on that floor. That was fun for me personally to write because um, that floor very obviously mimics some South American culture, and I got to travel and hike to Machu Picchu. So
Ooh, nice.
Oh.
I had a lot of personal firsthand experience with that setting. So it was a lot of fun to write.
Nice. And then Atzo asked, as someone who has not known the bosses other than the canon sources from floors that don't have bosses, where do you search for boss ideas? Have you attempted to breach the domain of H.P. Lovecraft?
Huh. So, as the person, me and Baldur have done the last 3 bosses, which would be Thanos, Mothra, and the upcoming one for floor 21. We legit just think of them off the spur of my head. I was working on, this is my story for the 21 boss. I just finished making a rough draft for floor 21, and I was working on rewriting some quests and making some new quests, and it just popped in my head. I'm like, yo, this would be a good idea. Wrote it down, made it with Baldur, and then there's the boss. We legit just think of them, and we try to keep them as close to the floor as we can. I remember, what was Thanos based off of?
The floor itself. We kind of, and I think that's really where most of them have been starting. Is we
Yeah.
come up with an idea for the floor. Thanos. That was my floor to come up with. I didn't have much of an idea for a boss, but I think you can clearly see some Shadows of the Colossus inspiration in there.
Yeah, that's what I was thinking.
So Hickey took that and ran with it and came up with the idea for the boss. Then we worked on the mechanics and whatnot together. And it's been the same thing. This boss as well. And actually, now that we mention it, this is the floor 20 is the Inca floor, and that's where you came up with Mothra. We've got all these giant insects and whatnot running around this floor. So really, we start out with the floor. We come up with what it is. A lot of times, we have just a brief description from the source material as far as what the floor is. And then we kind of run with that, fill in the information. Somewhere along the lines, we get an idea for the boss and start coming up with what we think they should be, what their powers should be like, that sort of thing.
Right.
Nice.
I am a big fan of Lovecraft, though, but we have taken an intentional effort to get away from doing so many dark and depressing floors in blocks. So we're trying to kind of space things out a little bit.
Break you up and tear you down, and then build you back up again.
Yeah, exactly. I would
Just
love
to tear
to
you
do a Lovecraftian boss.
We might do that. Maybe for one of the upcoming floors if we don't have a boss for it yet.
Yeah.
That'd be pretty cool.
Yeah.
Another question was from Atzo. Are you guys going to change the setup once we pass floors 30? Like instead of beginner, intermediate, advanced, label subforms 1 through 10, 11 through 20, so on and so forth? To answer that question, no, we will not be doing that. We originally started out with that, but since there's so many floors, if we break it up like that, then we're going to just clog up the form, and it's just going to slow everything down. So we're just going to stay with the beginner, which is going to be the easier floors, and then intermediate would be everything from, I don't know, let's say 15 or even 10 to whatever the current floor is. And then advanced is just going to be the front lines.
Are you going to start changing then what floors are in beginner rather than just leaving it 1 through 10 and making intermediate everything else?
Yeah, right now that's what it is. And then once we get to floor 21, I'll probably move floor up to floor 15 into beginner. And then the rest of that is going to be in advanced or in intermediate. But
Yeah,
that's the plan right now. So we'll see how it goes.
Yeah.
Do you guys have any ideas of how we could space that out or make it, I don't know, more relative?
Not really. That's kind of difficult to do in my part. I can't think of anything. Maybe the others will, but right now I can't think. It's really hard to kind of space that out and make it work.
If we ended up doing like a time skip or something like that, I would probably make like beginner floors 1 through 25 or something like that. And then intermediate would be everything up to the front line. Because, as you've seen right now, we have some beginner quests that are for levels 1 through 15.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And so, when we get to 3.0, a lot of that curve will kind of start to change. But I think sticking with the beginner floors is sort of being, all right, once you get to this point, you're no longer a beginner. You can start stepping out into doing some of the more dangerous stuff. You've kind of got your basics set together, your basic understanding of how the core mechanics work. Now you're into the wildlands. Would be the way I would set that up.
Into the Badlands.
Yeah, definitely.
Let's see here. There was also something asked about what's the deal with uniques right now? I forget who said it, but it was mentioned. Just uniques question. I was like, all right.
I think we're waiting for Floor 21 to be released. So after this boss, the uniques will be available again. That's always been the plan.
Unique skills. Yeah, no. So unique skills are all still in the process of being balanced. So I hate to say they're going to come out when they're ready, but we kind of rushed rebalancing the unique skills that are currently out there, and are working on the rest. That's hard because we want to release them in a very deliberate way. We don't want to just make this thing where, you've got to have 20,000 coal and spend it, send it to this NPC and he gives you a quest and you go get it. We want to try and make getting the uniques unique. So you're not going to get a unique skill the same way. So the way you get dual blades is going to be different from the way you get duelist, which is going to be different from the way you get berserker, which is going to be different from the way you get inquisitor, and we want to make that a more character-driven method, and we're going to make it very challenging. So it's not just a first come first serve thing.
Yeah.
So just figure they'll come out with 3.0. That's the easiest way to describe that.
Yeah.
Yeah, because otherwise we have to balance all of the unique skills twice.
Yeah, no kidding.
That would kind of...
Here's another question that's just put up. If a non-staff member has or had ideas in terms of floor building, can they give staff suggestions? If so, what is the best way to do that? I'd say just message maybe a PSD or just to bring it up, or message
the best way to do that,
content creator for that team.
Yeah, the best way to do that would definitely be to contact me, Mac, Ariel, or Lowenthal, or whatever his name is, Nocturne on site. Because we're on the floor creation team. If it interests one of us, we'll bring it up and we'll talk about it. Be like, okay, where can we put this? Blah 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 blah. Can't make any promises that it'll be used, but if you have an idea, and we'd love to have it because it's a little bit less work for us to have to try to create a whole new floor. And it would give us something to work on. Definitely.
So probably the best way to do that is to look through the previous floors, the more recent previous floors, see how we've put them together, try and come up with your idea, put together the same way, but don't make it a specific floor. Like, don't say, this is my idea for floor 22, because we've probably already got outlines for the next 5 floors. So it's better if your floor could fit into any, or your idea could fit into any floor. And then you could make a support ticket like Ariel's pointing out, and then tag the floor creation team, or submit it. They can take that idea and maybe adapt it and run with it. I know Takao and I were talking about having some contests for floor creation ideas and for quest creation ideas. So since Shark has reformatted how staff is organized and works, and we actually have teams that have specific purposes now, we're slowly starting to put together frameworks and bases of design for everything and formats and whatnot. So we're definitely interested in taking player ideas. So the best way to do it is just to go and see what we've done and try and mimic that.
Yeah, I think with how the news staff is run, I think it's a lot more efficient and effective in what we do.
Mhm.
So that'll be good. Well, on that note, I think we've wrapped up all our points and nailed out everything we have. So this has been the Sword Art Podcast, and I'm your host Shark.
And I'm your discount to Cal Baldur.
And I was your guest host, I guess, Hikoru.
Well, make sure this has been recorded live on April 8th, 2017, and this will be directly uploaded to the YouTube channel. So stay tuned. If you've missed the live cast, then there you have it. Until then.
Try not to die, everybody.
Stay alive and enjoy
Try
your
not
time
to.
on SAO.
So until then, thank you for joining us, and we'll see you next time.
Bye.